Alright, in this video I'm going to be replacing the passenger side CV axle in my 2013 Mazda 3. This has the Skyactiv engine. I've already got the vehicle jacked up and I've already got most of the brake components off, and this is the piece I'm going to be replacing right there. I paid $145 for the piece off Rock Auto, that is Canadian. I do need to remove the tie rod and I do need to pop out this lower ball joint to do this. So I will put that in this video, but for the brakes I've already got videos on that, so I'll link videos in the description as well, parts in the description as well, and you do need that 32mm deep socket. Now, first thing I'm going to be doing here is removing the axle nut, and you can see I'm using a breaker bar and the vehicle is in neutral so that I'm not trying to remove this axle nut against the transmission. I feel that's probably a better way to run, and then you can see that I got a long breaker bar holding everything in place. The Mazda dealer, by the way, wanted $1,200 for this axle as a Mazda part. Mazda part is better in quality, but $1,200 is definitely not worth it for one. Now, to remove the tie rod, there's a little spring clip, and it just pulls out, no big deal. And then it's a 14mm socket or wrench to remove the bolt. And I didn't have any issues removing any of the nuts or bolts on this thing, actually, even though mine's pretty rusty. Like I said, 14mm, and it's going to pop off. You do need to remove this. Absolutely, you got to get that off. And likewise, the lower ball joint, you definitely need it. Now, I've got a ball joint separator, which is also useful for the tie rods, but you can smack it out with a dead blow hammer or a regular hammer as well. I bought this thing for a different job, and obviously I'm going to use it because I have it. And the time it takes to do this at the Mazda dealership was, I think they said, an hour and a half. So it'd be about $200 in labor. Now, once I've got the tie rod separated, I remove this lower ball joint. It is also a 14mm. So again, everything's pretty easy to remove and everything's 14mm as long as you've got the brakes off. And obviously I used PB Blaster on everything and let it soak for about 15 minutes before I tried to remove it. Now, once I got the nut and bolt out of the lower ball joint, I once again used this ball joint separator. You can't really get in there very much, but I was able to get it moving with that ball joint separator. And then once it was moving, I used a dead blow hammer and I just knocked the lower control arm down until it popped free. And that gave me the room to wiggle this CV axle out. It is a little bit tight, but after a little bit of struggle, it does come out. Now, it's just held in to this extension shaft by a little spring clip, which I'll show you in a little bit. And I did have to drop the skid plate down, but basically I just took this hammer and I smacked it from underneath. Now, I had no room to film it, but that is how I did it. So pretty difficult laying on your back, and this is the little snap ring that holds it in place. So it's not held in there very tight. It's obviously tight enough that you can't just pull it out by hand. You got to use a hammer, but that's it. Now, this snap ring also makes it hard to put the CV joint on. I did try to get the new one on, and I was hitting it with a hammer a little bit. What I found actually is you just mess around with that little C-clip or spring clip, and if it's in the right position, the CV axle will just sort of slide on without a huge amount of smashing. So definitely mess around with that little clip if you're having difficulties getting your CV axle back in place. I had huge amounts of trouble getting it back in place. I don't really film myself on the struggle bus here, but like I'm filming this right here on Saturday, and honestly I didn't get it in place until Sunday. I had to come back the next day, and honestly it was all about that clip. I tried other things that I saw online, like using zip ties and stuff to compress that little C-clip or snap ring, but none of that worked. So all I did eventually was just sort of turn the little snap ring and just try it in different positions, and eventually I got it on just by hand. I didn't have to use a hammer or anything. And then once the CV axle is in place, obviously put it back in place, pushing it through the wheel bearing, and then likewise getting that lower ball joint back in place. Now, it is a little bit difficult to line everything up and push it in, but overall it is straightforward. And once it's in place, obviously you can take the axle nut and start putting that into place as well. I'm just going to put the axle nut in place so I don't damage the threads. I'm going to put some anti-seize on everything that I'm putting back together, specifically this lower ball joint. Now to get the lower ball joint back in place, I am using a secondary jack, so I'm obviously using jack stands to hold the vehicle up, and I usually keep a jack in place as well. I removed the jack just for this, and it did a great job just lifting everything up and putting it into place. And once the ball joint's back where it should be, just take the bolt, slide it back through. Again, it's a 14 millimeter, and then obviously just put the nut on and tighten it down. Now the torque spec I have for both the tie rod and the lower ball joint are 40 foot-pounds or 33 to 44 foot-pounds. I think it really depends on where you look. I do not have a manual for this car, so that was just by doing some online research. So the 14 mil nuts are 40 foot-pounds for the torque specification. Again, that's just doing my own research, so do your own research online. Now the tie rod was a little bit trickier because it spins freely, but I was able to get it torqued to 40 foot-pounds. Now the way I did it, you can see there's a hole for that retainer clip that goes through the bolt, and then you can get a wrench in there and tighten it. So get it tight with the wrench and that screwdriver I was using to hold the bolt still, and then I was able to test it with the torque wrench to make sure that it was actually at 40 foot-pounds. And then once that was in place, just drop the retainer pin back in, and that's pretty much that for the tie rod. So because I removed the tie rod and the lower ball joint, I probably should go and take it for an alignment, although I haven't done that yet. And now the torque spec on the axle nut is 202 foot-pounds. And you can see once again I had the vehicle in neutral, and then I used a very large curl bar to make sure that the axle didn't spin. And I also had the lug nuts in place so that I didn't damage any of the threads while I was doing this. I would have taken off the brake rotor, however, once again it was pretty seized on there, so I'm just taking a bit of brake cleaner when I'm done and just spraying it off. I didn't think it was going to be worth beating the brake rotor off with the dead blow when I could just clean it off afterwards. And that's the CV axle, and since I put the new one on, it hasn't been making the sort of rattly rocks in a soup can kind of noise that a bad CV axle can make, so it seems to have done the trick. And then obviously I'm going to put all these brake components back on. Like I said, I do have another brake video, so if you want to see how to remove the caliper and the brake pads, that kind of thing, and get the torque specs, then I've got a whole separate video for that. Anyway, before I put everything on, I'll just check and make sure all the nuts are in place. Everything's looking good. I got the cotter pin in place, and then obviously the lower ball joint is good to go. And there's the new CV axle. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.